Dusty.
Welcome back. This is a project that we've had for a few months now. It grew pretty big, pretty quick on us. But this is Patrick's car. He's out of Asheville.
Did we do an initial video on this one? I don't think
know.
so, because it was very disappointing.
It was bad. Car came to us. Patrick bought the car as it is with the blower on it. It had what we ended up finding out was it had a 408 iron block Gen 3 truck motor. So they had converted it to the 4X cam gear with a timing cover, but it was a Gen 3 block. And his complaint was it didn't have a lot of power, and it was using a lot of oil, like 1.5 quarts in 50 miles, 100 miles. It already had the F1A blower on it, but once we got into it, it was just some mismatched stuff. It had a 2-core intercooler. It had, again, the Gen 3 motor. We got the motor out, got it apart, found that the heads, the intake runners were cracked where they had been ported thin on the top, and it was pulling oil out of the valve cover area.
So now
we've got a 414 cubic inch forged motor, head studs, 260cc PRC LS3 heads, stock LS3 intake, no porting, no rod mod, stock throttle body,
stock mass airflow sensor.
Stock mass airflow sensor. It has the BTR 400 plus cubic inch NA cam in it, which is also a really good camshaft for a bigger centrifugal blower. It's got the F1A, not the 94 millimeter wheel, but the F1A, so it's a 540 step up ratio versus the 411s like the P&Ds.
And a 3-core now.
We went to a 3-core Procharged intercooler. That's the biggest intercooler you can get behind the crash bar. You can go bigger aftermarket if you're willing to kind of do away with some of the frontal crash safety stuff.
And converter.
And a Circle D, 3D, triple disc, multi-disc lockup converter.
Holding them good.
Yeah. It has our lower setup that we talk about a lot with the ATI, with the blower ring spacer, and a 7.8 inch ATI blower ring.
We'll get close enough.
And so factory Procharged 7-inch, that's what it had. It's a 7.8 lower now, so it's a little bit bigger. The upper pulley on this is a 4.75. It's a dinner plate.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Again, keep in mind the step-up ratio in this blower. It has 540 gears instead of 411s. But
the other thing you spent a lot of time on this one.
This was the big one, the fuel system. Every video you watch of us making big power, we're saying we're out of fuel, we're out of fuel, we're out of fuel.
Well, guess what?
We're not out of fuel.
No, we got a lot of fuel.
It's got ID 1300 injectors in it.
And they're only at around 73, I think is the highest duty cycle.
On E85.
On E85. And fuel pressure is fantastic. Dusty did a great job getting these radium rails in here, and we have 2 intake pumps that he did, a 450 and a 525.
A radium bucket
okay.
that we talked about. So we now have a recipe, a fuel system recipe. If you want to make over 700,
I think it is supporting near 1,000.
I think so. Pretty. I mean, you can, and it'll take up to 3 pumps. We only have 2 in there.
And we don't have 525s. This is one 450 and one 525.
450 is on all the time, and my logic behind it was there's really no need to move a ton of fuel all the time. But when it sees 4 pounds of boost, that second pump comes on, the 525 fires up. Now you've got 450 and a 525 moving fuel. It goes through a 10 micron fuel filter. It goes through the radium flex fuel bypass, which moves fuel on both sides of the sensor so you don't lose flow volume through the flex fuel sensor. The cool thing I like about this is I like to keep everything nice and clean where you can't see much. It has a crossover in the front, but in the back, this will go out. This is just for dyno purposes. The fuel feeds in this side of the rail, comes up the rail, goes across, and goes back. And if you look here, this is the radium fuel rail mounted regulator. It's boost referenced, it's fully adjustable. The return line is swivels, the whole unit swivels. Awesome. The top piece where the vacuum line is swivels. It's such a nice piece. It takes no tools to adjust the fuel pressure. You can just click the base pressure like you want.
But you're running 58, 4-bar.
58, and to test it with the engine off, so no demand on the fuel system, I activated both pumps. I had my initial pump set at 58 base. I turned the 525 on, so it's moving a pile of fuel with absolutely zero demand, and it went from 58 to 62. So it increased 4 PSI only, so that regulator's bypassing.
And when we cranked it today, we were worried about potentially being off a little bit because the car wasn't running when you set it.
Right.
Dead on. I mean, that is a quality piece.
Great setup, and it's got 2 pumps in it now. That module will again accept 3 fuel pumps.
So yeah, we're going to be, hopefully Dusty's going to be putting together some parts list and maybe even selling some kits. But this system here seems to be the ticket. We need to get Juan in here on this one because he's always talking about more power. And he's beating on his car a lot, so we really need to get him on something. I think his injectors might be okay. But now,
the fun stuff.
Yeah. Can we get to the good, get to the good part?
Yeah, let's skip to the good part.
Yeah, can we? So, the not so good part is how it came in.
And this was after tuning, let's point that out.
593, 553. And these are all numbers are only 13, 14 at the very, very peak. So this is very mild boost. This is not killing this motor at all. And 774.
Look at that torque number.
I like that. 696 torque.
This is 93, you guys.
And then 857. I'm rounding that one up.
Yeah, you can round that up.
760. I don't think I can do that.
760.
Yeah. So where we're going with that is 760 foot-pounds from a centrifugal blower.
People say, well, I like that torque.
Yeah.
Torque, but
and that is even down here at the lowest spot where I hit it. It's
4,000 RPMs, which this converter is going to flash.
That's locked.
Well,
you're right.
Over that.
670
torque.
So you have all the torque you can need. Air fuel, of course, we go for around the 11.5 always. Anytime you're boosting it, can you lean it out a little bit if you're less? Sure. The gains don't really seem to be there for the safety margin, and we want him to drive it all the time. He wants it to be more of a street car. But man, we are super pumped.
This is the good number. We didn't have fuel pressure on the
oh yeah,
baseline.
check that.
But when your fuel pressure, maximum pressure, is at your peak RPM,
that means that it's
really
losing
close to it. It's not
losing any
out of
pressure.
fuel.
Correct.
You still have fuel system, so while it may slightly level out, it's got
fuel pressure is great. It increased the entire time. If you take down that run, you can sort of show them how like the fuel pressure is definitely based off. It's basically the more boost, the more fuel pressure.
Yeah, and it's wavy because it's a very condensed range of pressure here. But yeah, you can see.
That's awesome.
You can see here.
Fuel pressure never drops.
Never drops, and of course on the 85. It is using more fuel, so the pressure's not quite what it. You're 69 to
it's
70.
1. Yeah.
It splits away here. You're
70.
a little bigger to find
so
it, but
it's a pound or so, which is we always zoom in on things because 1, we don't try to hide anything, and 2, we're very particular, and we want everything to be sent like we would send it.
Look at that air fuel right there, boy.
Let me try.
11.5. This was the 85 run.
Yep.
That's the other thing too, is when your E85 number, Chris talks about it all the time, when you add E85 and you don't have to really make a whole lot of adjustments, it should mathematically fall right in as long as you got the fuel supply, which we do. So we're super excited about.
Yeah, this car is great. We're going to potentially bring it to the track. Well, actually we are. We've already talked to Patrick. We're going to bring this to the track. And he does have a Dyno radial on the back. We're probably not going to try to launch it hard, but I want to try to just, even if it spins, to see a 1-2 shift and to see a 2-3, and we can get that one, and a 3-4. But yeah, it's got 17s, but they're a Dyno. I think they're like a street.
Like a 555.
Yeah, 555R. Yeah, dude, this car.
Treadwear, so
yeah, it's not great for traction, but they're great for the street.
We're gonna do a wide band.
Yep.
And we're going to, he's going to get HP tuners so that he can log.
Pretty low mileage car too. I think it's got 88,000 miles. I think it's a really nice road. Yes, but I don't know. It's a big build. I mean, we did this one from the ground up. These heads are actually really good heads off of mine.
Off of Chris's blue car on the old motor that we had, the 6.0. So these heads went 1020s on motor, and it should go. I don't know what.
Well, how much compression we have in this one?
It's I don't remember what those heads were. I think it's
Yeah.
around 10.2, 10.5. They're
That's
seven,
about
they're,
for this kind of boost. I would say that's probably
I
where
think
I'd want
it's
it.
10.2. They're 11 cc.
And I think
fish pistons.
we're talking about if you wanted to get more, which pretty much almost 900 rear wheel, you could potentially free up the intake, the throttle body, the mass airflow. I mean, because this is literally through the stock mass airflow and throttle body and intake.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, that might gain us up some and pulley it down in an intercooler.
475.
Yeah.
That's a big pulley. If we went to a 4.5 inch upper, we'd see a couple more pounds right there, and that would be well into 900s.
With a few tweaks, this car would make 1,000.
For sure.
But for a true street car, it's just not. It's not worth it because this car is going to be so fast and so, fun on the street that little bit of difference wouldn't, in our mind, justify the difference. Now if somebody going all out for a race car, grudge car, let's do all those things. But I mean, this setup is perfect. It's just the way it is. It made every pull perfectly. We don't have any belt issues.
And you can see the motor break in too. It had a little bit of smoke on the first couple pulls.
I think you got two pulls. One was the Max 93 and one was Max E85. So maybe we'll be able to look at those and tell the difference.
Up nice. It doesn't smoke a bit. The rings are sealing up. The best way to break in a motor is to run the heck out of it. Just throw the rings out against the cylinder wall. You could just watch it break in. The power came in.
So he got two pulls. And you have a auto video from over there already, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I'll just toss me that one. I'll put that one on the end of, or the beginning of this one. So, and then hopefully next time you guys see this car, it'll be at this drag strip because we do want to probably not do any launches, but at least see if we can trap out the back end. So maybe this will be a good car to have at a quarter-mile track.
Yeah.
Because that 3/4 shift's going to be nasty. So. But anyways, I appreciate it like always. We're actually closing out on 4,000 subscribers, and I don't usually say things about the channel, but hey, that is a good.
Smash that subscribe button.
But it is exciting. So I thank everybody for watching and supporting. So until next time.
Too. And you guys, we're a small business, and so word of mouth is huge. So.
And the YouTube videos spread like wildfire sometimes. So anyways, we appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Until next time.
See you.